Hello, everybody. We are live again on our afternoon tea with me. So I have my cuppa, have you have yours, and I'm Sandra from Tiverton, Bead and Wool Shop. And sorry about my wild look. I've just been tearing ivy from the fence in a garden, and why I was doing that is because if I lose my train of thought, is because at the moment I'm formulating a letter in my head. I think I will write to our MP because it's funny that it's a little rant. That is rant of the week, and then I will stop. The government kind of tells us they are doing all sorts of measures, this, that, and other. But of course, to come down to us, actually, the little people on the street, there is a lot of people in between the big announcements and what happens in the street and dealing with, I hope not, well, no, actually, I do hope that somebody from Mid Devon District Council is actually watching this video because to deal with them is always you feel like, why do we have here in this area have the short straw? I think they are masters of that's not my responsibility. It's another department. Oh, well, this department doesn't accept phone calls. That is their email address. If you call them next week, then the email address, oh, that is a different address. You have sent it to the wrong address. Well, that's the address you gave me. Anyway, so at the moment, my head is still formulating this letter. But anyway, back to the knitting, back to the good things. The sun is shining, and we kind of keep marching on. And I cannot believe it's only third week. And even though I saw you what like Friday night, so which is Saturday, Sunday, Monday, so it's only 3 days. It still seems like a lifetime ago. Everything seems like a lifetime ago. This morning I walked in the shop and I thought like, the sun is shining in the window. I can see the dust is kind of, even though nobody's going in, the dust is settling, and I'm thinking, like, do I actually clean it or not? I I will leave it till next week. Anyway, so what we will be doing today, as I promised, we will be starting our socks, right? Once I go through the other interesting things, we will start our socks. I hope you have your needles, yarn, and important pen and paper, and a piece of paper, preferably something like a notebook where you can write your notes because I will not be issuing any written pattern. So you can scroll down the video will be saved, and hopefully you make your own notes, the ones you understand, right? So that will be in a minute. Meanwhile, there is one thing which has come across and kind of a little bit caught my attention, and I looked into it and I haven't found any useful and precise information about. Um, Possibly I will tell it to you, and later on, if you have a time and you would like to do something about it, you can have a little bit of research. Somebody sent me just like a screenshot of somebody's post in some kind of Facebook group. What it is about, it's about knitting, crocheting, and sewing small hearts, pairs of hearts for intensive care units in hospitals. The idea is that when they admit somebody to intensive care with the virus, obviously no family and nobody is allowed to visit. So the nurses can give one heart to the patient and the other heart is in an envelope sent to the family. That, in general, it seems like a lovely idea. I have looked briefly into it and I haven't come across any exact like a hospital, sometimes like you have for the maternity units, you have official request. There is information. I have come across a little bit. There is one nurse somewhere on the BBC News. If you do on a search in the search engine, hearts for coronavirus patients, You will possibly come across that video where she requests the heart for hospital somewhere in Hampshire, or sorry, I can't remember. But anyway, so I don't know what is happening locally, how actually practical it is, and would the heart actually help or distract? Because to me is like, because they want the heart, well, somewhere there was in six, so they want the hearts like this size. So, and I'm thinking like, do the nurses in and doctors in intensive care units really, when they have life-saving things to perform, will need something which is basically infected, and you know, I don't know. I might be wrong. I might be the greatest idea. I think if it's done correctly and sent to the right people, and then somewhere something came up, and I can't remember where. That, oh yes, and please, if you do send it, date it, because then they need to go in a 72 hours quarantine before nurses will be opening the parcels to give the hearts out. So basically, something is going on, but I don't know what. So please have a look and do your own research. Do your own research locally, preferably, because again, it's one of those things where, are all hospitals accepting them, or is it only one particular one, and so on. Anyway, so that was information I wanted to pass to you, so you can make your little research and possibly act on it, if you can find the right way to do so. But there's one thing, just don't kind of make random hearts and just upload them to hospitals, because really they don't need any, I think, non-specific items like that at this point. Now then, the one thing which I would like to share to you, and I was talking about it last week, and I'm sorry, my scarf, my lovely scarf is a bit itchy because it's so hot, because I was outside kind of doing my gardening. There is the picture. I think you can see it nicely. This vest, is it vest? Yeah, it is vest, it's not waistcoat. So this is the one which I really would like to do. This one is free pattern from Isager Yarns. I put the pattern on the Facebook page, and it comes as well. I have put a little kit online, and what it uses would be there. Ah yes, there is my kit page which I was putting online. And oh, I was trying actually. Where is this? I have so many things to show, and I think that is also in another room. The swatches, yeah, the swatches are still where I was doing them. But anyway, so what it contains, the waist, theoretically, they say you should be all right with one skein of each. And what I have decided to use for the one I started, they use always two yarns together, and this, oops, don't want to put, because that one is connected to the knitting, and where is my other color? This one. These are the colors I'm using for mine. I have done my brights, and I would like to do something a bit more subdued, something a bit more neutral, so it will go with everything. And what I said I will do, and if you don't have time today, so we can always start tomorrow, see how the sock knitting will go. This one is the piece which I started. I know for the moment it doesn't look much, but I can explain it all, because sometimes I find English knitters are a little bit kind of not very happy with the Isager patterns, because they are written like, like they talk to people who know what they're doing. And even though we know what we're doing, sometimes it's not like classically explained, like knit one row, do this, or knit 25 stitches, knit two together. It will say to you decrease or increase in the middle of the row. So you need to know where the middle of the row is. So, and I thought, like, if you have time, I will show you today. If not, then I will show you tomorrow, and I will show you actually the swatches tomorrow as well for the other color scheme I have done the kits for, and see how we get on with it. So we will abandon this one because the swatches are in other room. Uh, then this week as well, I will put some more free patterns online. So this lot I will show you as well tomorrow, because otherwise on Tuesdays it's all very exciting because I have like 3 days. Well, we will do this, we will do this, we will do this, we will do this. And then on Tuesday I upload it all to you. And then on Wednesday it's like, okay, we can do a little bit of this. And then on Thursday, is there anything left to talk about? And then on Friday it's like, oh, is there anything except cooking to talk about? Because I don't have enough time to actually prepare any sensible knitting. Right, now then, for those of you who would like to do the socks, and this one is my way of knitting socks, how we were taught, like, I think we were in school, like we were like between age 10 and 12. When we were kind of in school, we had domestic science and the girls were knitting. So take your notebook, right? And if I find again the needles under this pile, which I've just piled on top. So what we will be doing sock. This one is very long sock. We don't need to do it so long. This one, and actually, if you have 100-gram ball of sock yarn, you will have 2 socks this size. This one is size, the foot fits size 8 shoes, but you can see how long the what I call the stem of the sock is. You can easily do the stem something like this length. That is more in proportion. I don't know why I got carried away and I knitted that part so long, but this one weighs 40 grams. This sock is 40 grams. So if you have 100 grams of wool, you should be able even to do this long, right? And we will be doing the rib on the top, and the heel will be like this. There is many ways to do the heel, but this heel, if I don't have pattern, I just resort back to my old heel, and the front of the sock is round. So we don't have any fancy Kitchener stitches, we don't have anything. And I will be talking you through during this, there will be not all today. We will start today and then we will continue on Thursday. So it gives you tomorrow to kind of maybe start or keep knitting. And then we will start heel on Thursday. We will not finish it. And then next week, Tuesday, when we come back, we will turn the heel. So by that time, you should have enough time on your sock to, to catch up if you are a slower knitter. Right, now then, let's start. And what I have done last night, just purely for time saving, I have cast on and I have done 2 rows. Right. So you take your long needles, right, and you cast on, and this one I will give you measurements for this medium size, quite roomy sock. If you want anything else, you can recalculate. And you need to cast on your long needle 64 stitches. Everything will divide by 4 because you will be using 4 needles in the sock. Once you have cast on in your favorite cast on method, there is no ifs, buts, or only that method. Cast on 64 stitches and knit 2 rows in the rib. And I'm using 1-on-1 rib. For those of you who don't know, it's knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1. And when you turn your work, then you will have again knit 1, purl 1, and do 2 rows like that. And that will create you this thing. Right? You can see there is my cast on, because I cast on with a long tail method. So, and now I have established a little thing, like a little ridge of knitting. Once you have done that, we will start to go round. And for that, you will need your double pointed needles. Whatever needles you have to have 5 needles in total. And I will be now taking needle by needle, and I will start knitting the needle. I'll try to maybe turn the camera slightly so you can actually see what I'm doing. And I have done this. I wanted to do it with you, but I thought like the time until I count 64 and then knit 64 and not to make a mistake. So I need to think that would be kind of, you can do it in your own time. And now I will show you, I will do with you the important part. How from this flat piece you can turn into round piece, right? And it doesn't matter what method of knitting you're using. So now I have one short needle and one long needle. And 64, if you divide by 4, is 16 stitches. So what I will be trying to do is put 16 stitches on each small needle. And with that, I will be just knitting the needle in. And I knit one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. You see there, 16 stitches on a short needle, right? And there is the rest still on the long. Now, I take another needle, another shorty, and I do another 16. One. And do not forget that you need to knit in the rib. So you knit one, purl one, all right? So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Did I do 14 or 16 now? 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I did 16 in the first one. Similarly, you know, like I said, my mind is kind of at the moment. Can you see now? There is still long needle and 2 little needles hanging like so. And why we are doing this ridge is because you can cast on straight away on the small needles. But if you're doing it first time, if you know where you're going, how to explain it, you can do it, but it's fiddly. It's like with all the crafts. With beading, with knitting, with sewing, the first rows are always the most difficult ones. And now I have taken the third needle, and I again will do 16 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Right, and now you can see I have these 3 needles hanging around, and there's still the long one with the last of the 16 stitches. I sometimes like knitting socks on the bamboo needles. These ones I'm using is the new Smart Sticks from Knit Pro. I normally don't like metal needles because I find them a bit too heavy. But these ones are really nice. They are really light like aluminium, and they're very pretty. And apparently they have these measurements is 2 centimeters. So if you want to measure how much your sock, if I tell you knit 2 centimeters, you can use your needle to measure it. But that's by the by. I think that's one of those kind of gadgetries. Well, it makes the needles look pretty. And yeah, at this point, you need to be careful that your knitting is tight enough and you're not losing your needles. If you have very heavy metal needles, you need to be a little bit kind of put it on the table so you don't slip. They don't slip out, because that's what happens when you start to kind of, if you do the first row straight away from cast on, that is the biggest kind of trouble. Right, now then. So we have transferred the stitches from the long needle to these four things. The long needles now you can put away, you will only need them to start the next sock. Now then, what we will need to do is now take the beginning of this concoction and join in a circle. See, how to do it is, I know you're looking on the mirror image, but if I leave the last needle where I have the thread coming out, you see that's where I finished, that one goes on the back, and the needle from the first one now comes towards it, like so. And then, this is always, be careful, because it's easy and tempting to start knitting with that loose end, with the cast on end. And now what you need to find the way, see, what I'm trying to do is you have that. And your thread comes from the back, and you can again start knitting the first needle. And this is where you need to be, I can't teach you that, you just need to do it, right? You need to do the first stitches in this joint, which will be like your needle 1 and needle 4. You just need to kind of pull reasonably tight. And you can see I'm just starting to knit the first needle. And this part is actually the fiddliest part in all the sock. When people say the heel and this, that, and other, no, heel is fine, heel is easy. This is the fiddliest part. And the other thing is, I have had one customer who was always very confused why her knitting is forming on inside the tube. Can you see now, if I show you, there's the split. Oops, I lost my needle, but that's all right, that's the free one. Oh, I think I better show you that way. So there is my thread. I have knitted one needle. This thread shouldn't be so long. I should be cutting it off. But this is where it's the beginning of the row, or round, not a row, round. So I have done the first one. And this is the most important thing. Once you have set your 4 needles going like that, you will be fine. And why we did the first 2 rows straight? Because it's very easy before you join to twist it. Another thing is, like when I join and pull it together, right? You do not knit, how to explain it, on the inside, you knit, it's always the outside of the sock facing you, right? When you look at your work, you always have to have the outside facing you, and you knit with the outer edge facing you, because I have somebody who learned to knit on a round by herself on a YouTube, but she was knitting this way, and it was so funny because the pattern still formed, but she said, I can't understand why it forms inside. It all formed very correctly, but when she knitted the hat, she ended up that she needs to push it out, because otherwise the pattern was on the inside of the hat. But that happens. But that's why when you knit, how can I explain it? I'll show you better. That's it. Basically, you see the inside, but I see the outside. And now we can do full circle. And that's basically how you start your sock. We can I will try to do a couple more rows or rounds. I still say rows, but you're going on a round. Or if I say row, that means a full 4 needle round. We don't count each needle, we count 4 needles. Right? And you can see how quickly it starts to look like a beginning of the sock, or beginning of mitten. Sorry, my mind went astray again. Where you have the kind of the joint in between the needles, the last stitch and the first stitch, always try to knit, with the exception that you are automatically very, very tight knitter. Try to kind of pull them tight, because those ones are places where sometimes there is a line forming, a line of slightly looser thread. This one is quite good because you can't see, but if the line sometimes, you'll just have a visual. There is no technical defect. It's just the visual line. You might, if you look somehow, did you see the other side? No, this one is quite all right. Where's that one? The half finished one, which will come back. No, this one neither. So I've been pretty good. You can't see, but sometimes it won't, and that is purely because obviously the needles, and heavier needles you have, the more pronounced it will be. On the bamboo needles, I would say it's the easiest needles to avoid it. And it's just because the needles just stretch out the thread in between the stitches, and the first and the last just kind of, the stitches are slightly bigger and looser, and it's only the visual. It's like after the first couple of washes, possibly it goes away and nobody sees it. But that is how we knit. The English traditional way is using only 3 needles in your body of the sock, and the 4th one, you would have that and the more stitches on the needle. I find it a bit confusing because I find it's like in mathematics. It's so much easier to divide things by 2 or 4, because to find the way how you can divide by 3, and how do you do the heel then? And then it's like, then you need stitch holders and all the rest of malarkey. No, we do 4 needles. And then if you do, let's say, decide, not maybe on your first pair. Well, having said that, no, if you are experienced knitter, you just never knitted socks, why not? You can even do it on the first pair. If you decide to do something like cables on the top of the sock, using 4 needles is much more, what I would say, visually easy. And you can see when I'm talking about stretching out thread, can you see how between the first row or first round I did, how the thread there is stretching out a little bit? So you need to take care that I make sure that this part, the last stitch and the first one, again, I'm pulling quite tight. And yes, you will have a little kind of gap or little opening, because obviously you need to do rows straight. And I will show you, I will just do this one, and I will show you what happens with that little opening. Don't worry about it at all, because that little thing we will get rid of when we finish the sock without any troubles whatsoever. And you can do, let's say when you will do your own, you can do 2 with, like knit 2, purl 2, and do all sorts of things. And right, let's do one thing at a time. As I was talking about, excuse me, about, let's say if you would want to do cables on the top of the sock, what I mean is, like, if your sock would have a nice pattern going from the top to the heel, and then you would like to continue on the front. Doing it in the 4 needles, it's very easy, because the 2 needles form top of the sock and the other 2 form the bottom of the sock. So there is no problem and no confusion, where the pattern should start and where the pattern should end. So it's very easy. Oh, have I done this one? Yeah. Oh, this one I have already done on this one, which I thought I finished the sock. Can you see there is nearly, you cannot see it. This one has still the thread attached. There's everything attached to this one. Can you see there is that little split which we made? What will happen with this little end, which you will need to stitch in anyway, we will just stitch this thing up when we finish. So, and that will do two things. You will get rid of the thread, so which you would need to get rid of anyway, and you can stitch up these two little rows and nothing will be visible. Now then, to continue, I mean, you can continue in the rib like this up to the heel. You can continue for a little bit more than that. It's totally up to you. But I would say, because we wanted to do the first one average, I would say, now using my needle and funky needle, I would say this one is roughly 5 centimeters. That would be inch is 2.5. Would it be 2 inches roughly? This part you can do 2 inches of rib, and then what you do is change into stockinette stitch. But as you're knitting on the round, you only will be knitting. If you do stockinette stitch on the flat piece, you will be knitting one row and purling back. On this one, you will be just on a needle 1. Don't start on the needle 3, that will be confusing. You know which one is needle 1, it's where the thread is. So this one is your needle 1, and then you can do your rib, and then you start your stockinette stitch, which means you just keep knitting, and that's where I got carried away when I was keep knitting, and then I thought, ooh, I have had a long sock now. So you might be ready for the heel on Thursday. So what I would like you to do, if you can obviously, is to get to the heel. So basically do this part of the sock. But please do not worry if you have done only this much or that much or whatever you have done, because I will not do full heel. I will only show half a heel up to that bend. So, and then you will have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday over Easter to get to that point. And then we will start next Tuesday, we will start turning the heel and picking up the gusset. And once you have done that, then we will be going into the foot of the sock, which is very easy once you get your stitches back after the gusset. So you are just carrying on straight, and then on next week Thursday, the master plan is, that's the master plan. I will show you how you do this decrease. And again, everything is formula. When I will get to the heel, I will tell you how you calculate what you need to do. And it is easy. You even don't need a calculator, all right? So don't worry about it. So there is no pattern. And this way of knitting socks, let's say if you would have a thicker yarn, you want to do nice thick socks, you will obviously need less stitches. I can't tell you how many stitches for which yarn you would need, but you will see when we progress and when you will see how we do the heel, you can apply the same principles to whatever number of stitches you will have. So it's a good thing to write down and kind of, that's basically, yeah, that's basically it. And I don't know how much of my sock, and I think I possibly will have very, very short sock because I only will have tonight and tomorrow night and my other knitting to go, because I want to do the waistcoat, don't I? I have started it. So possibly I will start my heel flap on this pair will be like a trainer sock, like just over there. But anyway, so that doesn't matter. You can, that's the beauty of it. I think sometimes we are slaves to the pattern, and it's kind of difficult because I know when we were growing up, we didn't have patterns. It was like, well, if I like that cable jumper, well, we will do these 3 cables. But you know, and you just think, well, that's the yarn I have, and that's the needles I have. So what can we do? But here, having knitted like this shawl, where the pattern is religiously, painstakingly written out to the latest degree, which is great. It's very easy to use. The brain goes a bit numb and you stop thinking, and it's even like little things like, oh, it's like when I made a mistake here, I'm like, oh, what do I do now? Well, it doesn't matter. Nobody can see. Only thing is to get the next button work, but I'm missing one stitch. I'm sure I can increase somewhere discreetly and nobody will notice. And you think like, well, you shouldn't be missing a stitch, but you know, we all aim for perfection, but perfection doesn't exist. So I kind of, I'm quite relaxed. I'm all for good craftsmanship. The craftsmanship should be always nice and good. It's same like finishing, stitching up, and everything else needs to be really good. But nothing is perfect. So I have now done a couple more rounds, and you can see how even at this place there, it is still a little bit overstretching. But seriously, do not worry too much. Just make sure that if you, between the first and the fourth needle where you have that joint, just make sure you pay extra care, and you will see that once you have done like a bit more, a few more rows, you will see how it's starting to close up on the gap. Right, so that's your instructions for a couple of days. Hopefully that will keep you busy, and I will crack on as well so I can show you the heel on this one. And talking too much. I will show you if I can undig it. When we talk about imagination and things, that's why possibly sometimes, when you are not given 100% instructions are approximately like 90%, and then you need to make your own mind up. And I think that's possibly why the Isago patterns, there are some people who, I think they are pretty detailed, but some people just don't like it because they expect you to make a decision, right or left. And this one is that pretty waistcoat you saw on the picture, because it's knitted sideways. So this one, I have started the sleeve band, and this one is top shoulder there, and there is extra stitches cast on, and they give you on a pattern, they do say to you which colors they use, but they advise you strongly to use colors you like, and they just roughly give you, let's say, the idea that there is 3 colors in alpaca, which is this one. Oh, I will show you the skeins. So that one is my alpaca color combo, and then to that you add 3 colors of trio, which is this one is khaki, it doesn't look on the computer, at least on my end, this one, and I have this rust or nougat, and then you start with, these ones are color A, B, C, D, E, F, and you do A plus E, E plus B, and so on, so on. So you mix the colors all the time and change it. And I think it's like really nice way of incorporating. And if you, right, yep, I'm just looking which, oh, well, I will untangle it later. But interestingly, like on the pattern, like they say, the pattern is free. Like I said, you can go on our website and download it. And I think on the Facebook page there is part 1 and part 2. But they give you instructions here to cast on 82 stitches, and then put your stitch markers around the 2 center stitches, and then you're increasing on every 6th row on each side of these markers, so the jacket kind of has a little bit of slope coming up on the shoulder. And here the interesting thing, which I have never done, after you finish the garter, you knit the garter stitch, and then you cast on another 84 stitches for the jacket, so to go down. And how you do it, because you're using two yarns, I will try to show you on this, because this one is end. And for those of you who don't know some method of cast on, it's kind of, this will be new, and possibly don't try it, because now I will mess up my knitting if I try too much. What they try to tell you to do is, normally you have like long tail or whatever term cast on, you have main yarn and the end, the tail. Here you use one yarn on the thumb, another one on your index finger, and you do your cast on like that, separating the yarns. So which is quite interesting. And then you carry on. So what I would suggest, download the pattern, get your yarns out, and if you have any questions, we will do this pattern together, and you will see that it is much easier, and it's not so daunting, even you don't have like row by row explanation, because I think I have now reached the point when they say you will be doing stockinette stitch and changing the colors every 15 rows. And do not forget to increase every 6 rows. So what I have done, and sometimes with these patterns, again, my little trusted notebook, what I have done here, as I need to increase, ignore that scribble, so I was changing colors there, but I have done row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because I need increases in every 6 row. And you can see where I have knit row, and I just make a tick, and the row 6 increases. And again, row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 increases. And now I have done 2 rows, and I will need to do 1, 2, 3 more, and I will need to increase. And meanwhile, because every 15 rows I need to change the pattern, can you see that little tick? That reminds me how many rows in this color I have knitted. So once I have done, and I have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when I get 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So once I have done 2 more increases, I will need to change the color. And I'm just keep going like that. I hope you see it in the right way around. But that, if you keep ticking and making notes, it is very easy. So that, otherwise I would find 15 rows, 6 rows, have I done it, haven't I done it? This pen and paper, there is nothing better than pen and paper still. So yeah, and that I think is it for today. So I will be cracking on a little bit on this one, because yeah, the rows are very long. I don't know if I will manage to get to another color change. But tomorrow I will find my swatches, which I have put online. So if you go on Instagram or Facebook, you will find the swatches for this one. And the kits are available on our website. And then tomorrow we will be talking about this one again. And I will show you the other one, which I will have free pattern from Mo. And again, everybody gives these free patterns at the moment. It's like, ooh, what do I do with all this information? Yeah, so that pattern I will show you as well, because I find there is a scarf and it's so easy, it's so pretty. Yeah, we'll talk about it tomorrow. Socks back on Thursday. And then on the Friday, as far as I know, it's Good Friday. And I think I will miss the Friday, because if the weather is good, we have to crack on outside, because otherwise, this is when I say we need to crack on outside. This is something where I can understand why people suddenly love physical work. I find it's like all this, like talking to council and doing this and the mail orders and updating website, and I have nothing really to show for it. When I went out and ripped that ivy off the fence, I look out now, oh, I have done that today. So I feel kind of good about it. Anyway, enjoy your evening, and I will be back tomorrow, 3 o'clock. I'm trying to save this video. I hope it will be all good, so you can go back and find it on our YouTube channel. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and see you all tomorrow.